What's happening, guys? Jesster Radio. Someone that's probably saying, Jesse, your mic's incorrectly set up. Jesse, your earphones aren't as clear as what I'm used to recording on. Bro, Tumi, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Nah, thank you so much for having me, bro.
Especially now, a time where you are blowing up on social media and you're doing exceptionally well, bro.
Hey, thanks, man. You're just doing what I can, bro. Like, for the love of it, you know?
The love of it. And that's what, actually, I wanted to ask you, like, how did you get into, hip-hop and singing and being an artist? Was it something that you grew up saying, I want to do that? Or was it?
For real. I basically, as a kid, wanted to do music. Then, my parents didn't have the funds to help me get there. So, I was just trying to do it at school. And then I got discovered by my mentor, Craig Bullock, and he was a dance choreographer. So he was like, he saw me performing one of my songs at school, and he's like, hey, you got moves, like maybe I can help you, dance and do music. But then he obviously also didn't have the spaces to get me into music. But my dancing, while I was training for my dancing, like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, let's do a competition. You look like you have a chance. Then I'm doing competitions and I'm starting to win them. And then we go overseas for world championships. I come, like at 15 years old, I come second place. So from there, it's just like, damn, okay. We were like, okay, you're doing well with this. I'm starting to earn money at a young age, doing gigs. And, the music was on hold. But eventually, like, a few years ago, I was like, nah, like, I really need this music thing, because I started choreographing for, big artists in South Africa, choreographing for TV shows, and just being around artists, especially like Casper Nyovest, he kind of inspired us to really pursue the music thing. Because before working with dancing for Casper Nyovest, I was trying to pursue the music again. I was like, no, I'm going to do this, And just being around him just gave me that motivation of really going for it, because I was like in and out. I was like between dancing and music, and a friend of mine told me, hey, dude, you're going to have to choose soon. You can't do both, You have to commit to one and really go hard. So being around big artists like that, I realized that, I have to go full out. This is what they doing. This is the amount of work they putting in. I was like, damn, I'm not going to have the time. So I had to make a choice, and I had to sacrifice my dance career and pursue the music, Then I had a song called You Ain't Shh. Maybe I shouldn't say the swear word, but you know what I mean.
You can say.
Yeah, You Ain't Shit. So, that song got like commotion in the streets, it got played on YFM. It was my first like song that got onto radio. And, through that was like, I think 5 years ago. And, through all of that, like, I was going to clubs, performing at clubs, but I didn't have a mentor to teach me how to be in the music industry, So everything we're figuring out on our own. And, I kind of flunked bad, and I kind of fell off with the music during the years, because I was trying to figure out how this works. And, for me, what's happening now feels like a comeback, because like, there was a chance where I really could have came up properly years back, but I guess I wasn't ready, and throughout all the mistakes I've made over the years, the mistakes is what taught me how to do this thing right, So now I've been given a chance by God to really, pursue this thing right. And the amount of attention I get, the amount of distractions I get, I'm not distracted anymore the way I was before then, because I know what I want, I know what I need to do, and I know I'm doing this.
Is it also because now you have maybe a mentor? Or is it just vision that you?
It's vision, because my mentor was my mistakes. Okay. My best friend, who also like produced my song that's getting big, he was also like a person. I would say maybe he's the closest to being a mentor, but he also was learning just as I was learning, And sometimes he would tell me things like, yo, don't do this, don't do that. But it was a thing of like, yo, at the end of the day, we don't know, because you haven't experienced it as well. And I would make those mistakes, and he'd be like, I told you so. And throughout all of those things, I don't regret those mistakes because now I got to experience them and know what's right and what's wrong, what to go for and what not to go for, how to save my time, how to not waste my time, because that's what you really need a mentor for, because a mentor can save you from wasting time. But when you learn yourself, you're going to go through trials and errors along the way. But it's not a mistake. It's not a bad thing. You know, learn from your mistakes and use the experience you get from your failures. And the thing is, there's no such thing as failing. I feel like you're only a failure if you stop doing it.
Yeah.
If you give up on it. So those mistakes were a lesson, and I'm so lucky to have experienced them because they got me to this point, and now I know what to do. You know what I mean? Things feel clearer, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's good that you say that, you know, your own lessons and your own your mistakes became lessons and became your own mentor, you know, molding you into the artist you are today.
Yeah.
So the original song, Basadi, was that something that Rouge and Musli saw and they're like, yo, that's a cool song, we want in on that? Or how did that work that you remixed it?
I think what happened was that the song was kind of going up on its own. You know, the original, it was getting the attention of the industry more and more, you know. Then COVID happened, you know, so I really feel like if COVID didn't happen, the song alone would have just came up automatically because of the performances. People were genuinely loving the song, you know. So when COVID happened, myself and my best friend were like, damn, what are we going to do to carry this song? Because we saw the potential it already has, you know. It even got playlisted, the original got playlisted on YFM.
Sure.
You know, so we thinking, damn, like, this has potential, but how do we keep it going? We didn't know, from that moment, we didn't know what happens next because no one's ever experienced something like COVID, ever.
Yeah.
So everything is like now, even playing field for everybody. There's no mentor that can really tell you. There's no one that can tell you, do this, do that. No
one's experienced it.
yeah. So we don't know what the outcome of the music industry is, you know. So Musli's manager is a homie of mine. And he was like, yo, bro, it would actually be dope to do a remix. So I thought of that, and then I left it, you know, for a few, maybe weeks. And then we were like, oh, how do we carry on the song? Then I was like, yo, bro, Spuda said, you know, it would be dope for Musli to be on the remix. So we're like, all right, let's holler at him. So we're like, yo, bro, we ready to do a remix. Let's do the right thing, you know? He's like, all right, cool. Let me give it to Musli. Then from there, I spoke to Rouge's manager, and they were asking me for a contact of an artist. And when they asked me for the contact of that artist, I was like, yo, actually, bro, can you play? Like, because I realized with Rouge, I was like, wait, Rouge can actually kill this. You know what I mean? And I've known her also for a long time, and I've always wanted to have a song with her, you know? So I was like, let me try it out. And then sent it to them. Maybe I think they took like a week, if I remember, or 2 weeks or something. And eventually it got back to me, and they're like, yo, Rouge is in. And they told me the story of how they heard it, is that obviously I sent it to them, and then the managers, obviously, who I was speaking to, sent it to them. They left it on their phone. But then they just bumping songs, new songs that people have sent to them in the car, and then they heard my song, and they're like, oh, who's this? And then they hear my voice, they're like, isn't that Tumi? Oh, snap, isn't this the song Tumi wanted me on? And then they were like, let's go. You know, so they were happy. It was so organic that they genuinely heard the song and it stood out for them. Yeah. You know, so it's dope that, you know, these girls didn't look at it as a favor. They looked at it as how it can benefit them as well. Mm-hmm. And they looked at it as a genuine collaboration that they fit on, and it's not forced energy, you know. And I think people could hear that in the music and hear that, wow, they genuinely want to be part of the song, and it was an organic experience, yeah.
Well, now I saw it was like #1 on the hip hop charts on 5FM.
Yeah, and still like yesterday,
it's
they announced it
even
2 weeks now.
Passing Nasty C and stuff.
Yeah, and that's 2 weeks now. Last night it was #1. Yeah, I don't know if I can say the date or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's been #1 for 2 weeks now in a row.
Sure. So what does that mean to you as an artist? Because I'm sure that's something you aspire to.
Yeah, like I just didn't see it coming, to be honest. I think this song has really surprised us, and it keeps surprising us. I think our biggest enemy with the song was ourselves, especially myself. We knew it was a dope song, but we didn't know it would get to this point. Yeah. You know what I mean? We knew that it can, you know, help me a bit and, you know, keep interest in my name in the industry, but we didn't know it could get this far, you know? So everything that happens is always a surprise, because anything that we achieve, we're like, oh, okay, maybe it stops there, you know, because I've gone through so many, you know, disappointments in my career. Like I could write a whole book of it, you know what I mean? So through that, it's like becoming #1. I was just like, what? Like, nah, man, I'm probably dreaming, and it still hasn't sunk in. You know what I mean? When people remind me of it, I'm like, oh snap, you know. So it's like at times I even forget about it. Even you reminded me now, I forgot. Like I was like, oh snap, like damn, we actually made #1 and for 2 weeks now in a row. You know what I mean? So everything's surreal, and that's us. We just don't have expectations anymore. We just go with the flow. We prepare for disappointment. We're working on music. We're not relying on the song. You know, moved on to the next thing. And, you know, while we're promoting the song, we're just trying to work on new music. We're trying to work on the next plans. You know, I'm doing songs for DJs. Like, there's going to be a song with myself and Deleuze on a song with DJ PH for Metro FM. So, you know, I was focusing on projects like that and other DJs like DJ Zero and DJ Double D. And, you know, I can't wait for them to release music so people can kind of see me in different lights, you know, different feels. And they can be like, oh, snap, this dude isn't a one-hit wonder. Even though people haven't said that, which is weird, but I guess maybe they know my history as well. But I just want to make sure people know that I am here to stay, you know.
How is it in South Africa in terms of being an artist? Do you feel is it far more difficult than what it would be overseas? Because maybe in like America, there's so many more people doing it.
Yeah.
Is it? But in South Africa, there's far less money for people to spend and go to shows, and so do you think it kind of balances out, or?
It's weird because like the one thing I had to simplify, because I think a lot of people overthink a lot of things in the music industry. And a person like me who's doing research, I've done research in the business, management, PR, radio. I mean, everything. I pretty much know like most of everything that happens in the business of music. The one thing I realized is that the music really does say everything. People will be like, oh, you have to have this marketing team, you have to have this. It was just me and my best friend. Yeah. You know what I mean? And us reaching out to supporters and saying, yo, even starting a WhatsApp group, saying to supporters like, yo, guys, can you help us push? Can you help us create awareness? Because there's a lot of talented artists in South Africa, a lot of talented artists in America. And I think what's a similar thing is that how do you connect with your audience? Yeah. That's the most important thing. If you can connect with your audience, wow. And I think that's things that like people like A. Reese and Nasty C got right, is that once you connect with your audience, they got your back, and they're the ones that create the name for you. They're the ones that spread your name. They're the one that lets the next person maybe take you seriously. You know what I mean? So another lesson I learned was word of mouth is really powerful. Social media can work to your advantage. You know what I mean? You can't rely on it, but it really does work to your advantage, because at the end of the day, all I had was social media. Yeah. You know what I mean? And with social media, I used it for other avenues, like starting a WhatsApp group, you know, creating awareness for the song, asking people, being honest with people, telling, you know, I was even honest to a point of my financial difficulties, you know what I mean? And I think that's what artists need, is to be transparent, to be honest. But more than anything, we don't have a right to act like superstars, because at the end of the day, before social media, they were only superstars. So if you saw TV, if you heard on radio, it's just superstars. You know what I mean? And now we have social media where a lot of people are artists, you know what I mean? But now when an artist gets a certain amount of attention, let's say like me, then they stop, they don't connect with their people. They don't connect with their supporters. They don't reply to messages. They don't reply to comments. And I'm the type of person that I know that at the end of the day, I'm not a superstar. So who do I need the most? I need my supporters, and I need them to ride with me. So I'm always connecting with them. They like my biggest priority. You know what I mean?
Well, that shows, bro. You're coming on here, and I mean, in hip hop in general. Yeah. Obviously, it started more in like a black culture. Yeah. It was it was a cultural thing. Yeah. How have you seen in South Africa? Because obviously there's a lot of people that are Afrikaans or something. They're obviously not part of. There's so many different cultures. Have you seen support? Because in America, there's support across all cultures support hip hop. In South Africa, is it different or is it the same? Or
I feel like the core of South Africa is that it's a dance country. So when you're doing a certain type of hip hop, it'll probably only reach a certain type of black market. But if you can do a certain hip hop that is dance orientated or feel good orientated, you have a better chance of reaching other cultures. So with the song, I've noticed that I've been getting support from with Indian people, white people, colored people, And it's because of the feel. I always ask them, I'm like, yo, why do you like the song? You know what I mean? I just want to understand. And they'll tell me, yo, it just makes me feel good. I don't even know what you're saying with some of the words, but it feels good. Even having stations like 94.7 and Good Hope FM and 5FM playing it so much, and they basically playing it for those different cultures. I'm seeing that reaction of the different cultures, and it's really amazing to see that, because I've always wanted to be an artist that can branch out to all different cultures. I want to be a nationwide artist. I don't want to be a niche artist, but I come from a niche community that I represent, you know. So if I'm gonna branch out to all cultures, I need to take and be with my niche culture and represent for my niche culture, so that other cultures can be educated and be like, oh, so this is what's going on. We like what this dude represents, and he's representing his culture. Maybe we should invest more into that culture, you know. So it's me just basically reeling in all the different cultures to say, hey, this is what our culture does. It's pretty dope. I think you'll like it. You know what I mean?
And that's special, and that's what music can do. Music can bring people from across the world, across South Africa, who don't, know something about someone else's culture. They don't know. Like, I don't know something about, your culture. And that through your music, I can learn something about it through just, searching the song, or maybe going and Googling it. And
music's about feel. It's not even saying that you must study our heritage per se, but, get to know the feeling of where we come from, or the feeling of what we're trying to say, or, And my goal in the end, when people ask me, yo, what's your goal? Like, I want to be a pop star. You know what I mean? And a pop star, sometimes people don't get what it means, but it's popular genre. So you making what you do, your music, into pop culture that everybody can reside in.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what your song is now. I mean, if you think about the beat, if you think about the way your tone, the feel, voice, and everything, it's happy, it's uplifting, and it's universal, which is great.
That was the goal. Yeah, definitely.
So that's great. I mean, and also, it's almost, the remix is very similar to your original song. Which is great for you, and it also shows what you were saying about how, it's the value of the song previously, even though Rouge and Muesli are in it, it's still the value of the song that you had created.
Yeah, people still go back to, the streams are still going up even for the original, which is really cool, because I think when people want to hear me, they're like, oh, we see the remix, hey, we want to hear Tumi rap, or we want to hear more of his voice. They go to the original, and with the music video, we shot the music video in a way that it's also like very colorful, because we wanted all types of cultures to feel like they can also watch it, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we really try to make everything universal and understanding to all types of people and stuff, yeah.
As an artist and someone that obviously maybe never had a mentor, is there someone that you look up to in South Africa or even overseas?
Yeah, there's two people, one here and one overseas. That they kind of the people I kind of follow the blueprint of, even though I don't sound like them or move like them, but Drake internationally and AKA locally, because I just feel like they both understand how to cater for everybody. Yeah, and that's something I'm trying to learn.
And you think about Drake and AKA's range. It's not just one type of genre. It's it's like this. Like, if you think about Drake has every single song Drake's releases can be it can go into different genres, and also he can collaborate with so many different artists who have so many different ranges, and that's how you obviously grow and get universal.